So a few weeks ago I re-released Zaga 33, and yeah, it was like, so I made it 10, 11 years ago, and it had stopped being available on iOS because whatever, and I'd never released it on Android, so I was like, okay, I'll just, because like, money has been an issue, and I have a project which I've talked about, which is like kind of a big project. I want to really do it properly, and so like I really looked inside myself and figured out that's what I want to be working on, but like, how do I actually support myself to work on that? Like, hopefully it brings in money at the end, but I was looking around trying to figure out how I'm going to do that. I was hoping that like maybe by going through my back catalogue and like maybe even some old prototypes that I didn't finish, I could release little things to just like get me through to the point where I could make the big thing. And yeah, so I released it. I'm not sure, like, it usually takes me a while to get around to uploading these videos, but like, at time of speaking, I released it a few weeks ago, and it's being back on iOS. It's sold 200 copies, and it's for the first time at Android. I released it on itch.io, on Windows, Mac, Android and Linux, and it's sold 30 copies, and about like half of those are for Android, and yeah, so the thing with Android, like, it is more work to support Android devices than iOS, because like, it's just much more diversity of. Apple has lost the, like, when I started they just had the iPhone, the iPod Touch, which were the same dimensions, and the iPad, so it was really like a console, like really a fixed target hardware. They've lost that advantage, but it's still a better situation than all this stuff from different manufacturers. So it's work to support it, and like what I've seen from other people's sales stats, it's a significantly lower percentage of sales. So like at my tiny level, it hasn't always felt worth even doing it. But like I tried it. I did it once with Glitch Tank, sold 200 copies, maybe less, and it's just like, yeah, like that wasn't worth it. I could have just been making something new, because it was kind of a lot of work. And this time working with the Godot engine, it wasn't as painful. So like, and now that I'm doing that, it's like easier to support Android in the future. So I probably will, but like honestly, like, if everyone who has like sent me a message in the last 12 years saying, why isn't this on Android, like, if I buy it if it was on Android, if they were actually like literally telling the truth, and they like, now that something's on Android they went and bought it, then I'd be rich. Like they just say it to complain. It's not yeah. Yeah, so I would have hoped for, yeah, but like, I would have hoped for, I know it's like an 11-year-old game, and it's a small game. It's not my best work. It's my early work. But it's a nice little game, and I've like, I ended up spending. I was originally like, oh, I can probably do this in a week, and then I had COVID, and then it was taking longer anyway. But it only ended up taking about 2 months, which is like, I mean, it's still like puts back working on anything else by 2 months, which is like, it's not. Yeah, I was hoping that doing little things on the side would like help the big thing, but it's not. That's not going to be a viable strategy for me at the moment with also parent and stuff. Bike's just about to come past, so yeah. Just because it's like it's like a jump here. I've never seen someone go over it, but it's over this gap there. Like, the path goes around the side, so like, mostly I just go down there. Where was I? So, yeah, while I was like taking a bit longer than I expected to work on it, I started like noticing a few little things that with my greater experience, I was like, oh, if I just like do a little pixel animation, like just shift it side to side, that'll take like 5 minutes and it'll just like bring it a bit more to life. So there's a few little tweaks like that. It's a slightly controversial. I redrew the main character to be like a weird little spaceman thing rather than a @ symbol, and some people were like complaining like, where's the @ symbol? I'm like, yeah, because I did it because like back around when I released it, someone on Twitter really had to go at me like, it shouldn't be an @ symbol, that's putting people off, like, and like he seemed like a nice guy. It was like someone who works in games and just like was really like passionate about graphic design, and he was just like really upset that like I'd made this nice game, but like even though it had like nice environments and stuff, it had like an @ symbol like rogue. And I was like, well, it's a roguelike, so like people get that it's like a reference or something. But yeah, so I let myself, since I was going back and doing little tweaks, I let myself be swayed by that and be like, here's a spaceman, and like, I don't know, like, obviously because most people playing it, people who play the original, then like any changes that aren't too subtle to notice, yeah. But what else I did, I added a whole new mode, which is it's nice because I figured out something I could do that gave a new level to the game without needing any new assets, just recombining the things that are already there in a different way. And that's, I consider having it as like a secret and tied into, there's a secret level, I consider tying it to the secret level and like changing up from that, but people aren't going to be spending the same kind of figuring out what the secrets are now as they were like when it was first released. So I figured just tell people about it. So once you complete the game once, then you can tap on the moon, and I should probably put like a spoiler like around that in case you do want to have a secret, but just tap on the moon and it starts a game on the Saga moon or something, I don't know. Yeah, I'd had like, because the menu screen has like a planet and then a moon orbiting. For a long time I had like, what if the moon was an expansion or something? And like, here it is, there you go. And it's like, it's a little bit too a single pass. It's combining abilities. It's like, I feel like it's a worthwhile enrichment of the game. And now, yeah, there's 2 modes. They have separate scores and counters and so on. So I'm glad to have done that. I'm glad to have it be playable again. I just like, yeah, I hate the short-term nature of the medium. Like, there's stuff I played when I was a kid that I'd love to go back to, but like I don't even know if it, like, yeah. Someone asked if I could do like, rather than like going to the forest and being weird, like the normal game developer thing of doing like commentary over playing a game, my games or like other games, and like maybe like I like doing this, but yeah, maybe I'll dig up something weird obscure I played when I was a kid and talk about that. That'd be fun. So I'm not bringing this up to like complain about the money. Like, yes, I've been in a very bad financial situation. Fingers crossed that might change. I'll talk about that with you if it does. But the plan that I had of making the big project and making like little things on the side to just like bring in enough money while I manage to do that is not going to work, and that's okay. So like I would still like to bring the games that I've made in the past that are no longer playable or only on one closed platform to more people, but it's not something that pays enough. It'll just be like in the long-term plan rather than something I'm going to be steadily doing every couple of months, I think, unfortunately. Yeah, but like, okay, I had a go at like Android users before, but it's like, it's not. The problem is Twitter, right? Like 10 years ago, I would just make a little jam game, drop it on Twitter, and like people would play it, and sometimes they get picked up, and then like suddenly there's like thousands of people playing this little jam game I made, and it's like, well, I'd release something and then like a couple of hundred people retweet it, and then like lots of people have seen it, and you know, I'm often a late adopter. I was kind of resistant to getting to like the social media thing, but a couple of I was on forums, and so I met other people making games through forums, and that's how I really got into it as like there's actually like a whole indie scene out there. And so a couple of the friends I met through that really like said, hey, everyone's on Twitter, Michael, you should go on Twitter. Like really like sat me down like, we'll help you sign up for Twitter. And like they were right, obviously. Like then like yeah, I made a lot of connections through that. I met a lot of cool people, and like it was a really good social outlet for me. Like especially times I've been living in different countries, like kind of isolated, following my wife's work around, and like the Twitter game dev community has been just like really stable like point for me. Like yeah, there've been times when that's been my main way of like having a life, you know. When I first got into dancing, like I really found there was something really good for me in that, and like being embodied. But like for a long time, like I didn't really like talk much with people, and that because I was just like, it was like so much work for me to be like trying to get my body to like work. And so I was really like quite internally focused, but like dancing with people and connecting on the embodied level, but not being so much in that I wasn't really having like much, just like hi, know people's names, but not really like having conversations. And so like Twitter was like my my mental plane and partner dancing was my body plane. They're like this like separate universes. It's like getting the two social nutrients, the animal in person and the cerebral like chat from different places, which is kind of weird, but like you can do it in this modern world. That's cool. Yeah, so it's a big part of my life, and I really I built up good connections there by just the same thing I'm trying to do now, just like trying to honestly express and have fun and play with it and treat it as a playful medium and post silly things, but like not doing the like the self-promotion, like really like the thing that doesn't feel good thing. Words. And yeah, so like these aren't the words that like it's like most natural for me to phrase it in, but like it's probably useful to put it this way. I invested a lot of time and energy into building up connections there, building up, what does Darius call it? Networking. And connecting with like friends and followers by like expressing authentically. And it was a valuable resource for marketing my work. That like when I made something, I would be able to put it onto that, and like it's not just a matter of like you stick something on the internet and like it filters out if it's good. You have to build up the networks. But I had the networks that like I could just make things, and some of them would be good and some of them would not, and like some people would look at them, and the ones that were good, those people would spread. So it was both a way of getting my work to people and a way of like figuring out which ideas were good, that like the social graph would help give me feedback on what I should be doing. And it's all gone. Like, the Twitter of 5-8 years ago, if I had done what I'd done last month, posted it, it would have, like thousands of people would have seen it, maybe tens of thousands, because people would have shared it and it would have gone out, because Twitter worked. It was functional. And yeah, like I wasn't expecting like a big success. It's an old game, and like I expect a lot of the people who would be interested would be the people who had already bought it and are like, great, I can play it again. But there's a lot of people who, there's a lot of people who've come to know my work since then who would be interested, and I don't have a way to reach them, because the platform I built up to connect was on this like unstable foundation that can just get ripped away because some rich asshole decides to destroy it. And whatever they're saying their like ideals are, like it's pretty clear that it's a deliberate attempt to break it, to make it no longer useful for that kind of grassroots little people getting out there, and just a venue for spending large amounts of money to be what yeah. And I don't have the time and attention at the moment to like figure out which of the success, like I'm on Mastodon. I guess I'm old, like it just feels confusing to me because it's different, but yeah. I'm really glad I started the Patreon last year when I did, because it was already, if I'd started that like a couple of years earlier when I was really like in the worst of the sick, then like it would have probably still have reached more people, and I would have probably like had more money and even still be having more money from it now. And I just physically couldn't do that then, and I don't think Twitter would go away, right? But yeah, like I bet if I started this now, like even less people would see it. It's just really like concerning. Like you try and like do good work and build up to be able to and the foundations just keep getting pulled out from underneath you. Like I'm not old. Like I feel with the fatigue, I had a real taste of what being old is going to be like, and I can work towards having a good old age, and like I'm not afraid of getting old. I'm glad I'm so much better now. I'm so much like really like I lost a lot of weight, and I was skinny already. I didn't have anything to lose. Yeah, I've been spending a few years really like being like, okay, I'm not just going to be like computer all the time. I'm working on my body. I was building up strength, and like I stopped being able to do the physical things that I could do, and now like I'm getting quite fit again, and it's just like it's being okay, and I'm like paying attention to not overdoing it, but it's really like it's going really well. So yeah, but yeah, it's scary. Just like your body can just like stop being there for you, stop, and then so everything on computers, like anything that works, can just get stripped away. Like I need to when I got my first computer when I was like late teens or whatever, um, 17 maybe, I was so fired up to like use Linux because like that's cool and stuff, and installed Linux on it. First thing I did, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna be a cool hacker, do it, and exciting to do all the like hardware setup and stuff. It's fine. But I found out that my modem wasn't supported, and like I didn't know. Like, I was a kid. I didn't know that was a consideration, that like you should buy the really expensive. I didn't have money to buy the really expensive modem, which like it turns out would have worked on that. So I just got the cheapest everything, because like yeah, and so then I was like, went on my parents' computer and was asking on forums like, I've installed Linux, I can't connect to the internet, how do I get my modem working? And people were like, well, you could use broadband like a normal person. Like, in Aotearoa at the time, like that was rare and expensive. Like obviously, like we don't even have the words broadband and cable anymore because it's just internet. But at the time, you were only quite really well off people had cable internet, and most people were on dial-up. So like it was kind of alienating to like help, I want this like free open source thing to work. Oh, you have to get the really expensive option, which like obviously not. Or like buy the really expensive modem that then it will support. Or you could just write your own driver, right? It's like, I mean, but they didn't like point me to any like references for how. Like I just want my computer to work and like be able to do the basic things, and like maybe it's interesting to write a driver. Like I'm not. So yeah, I felt that culture was kind of toxic, as like I know people who've like really felt empowered by that, like do your own thing, but like, I just want it to basically work, and I do so much on my own, and like I've never written a modem driver. Like maybe it'd be fun to write a modem driver one day, but like I don't want to have to do that for my computer to work, right? But yeah, I've been thinking like I have to like you know, that was 21 years ago. Like the situation's changed, and like I need to like, while I'm still like have neuroplasticity, like work myself out a setup that isn't gonna keep bloody changing under me, and because it's already so much harder to adapt to all this stuff than when I was in my 20s. Like just turned 38, and like I'm not old. I'm still like there's days when I'm still affected by the fatigue, like not thinking as clearly stuff and that. But most days, like I'm really, and when I'm working on what I know I should be working on, and it's the right thing, then the fog lifts a lot. Like there's a lot in you know, like finding your purpose and doing living in alignment with your values and your vision. You know, it's when the other day I've been writing up a lot of stuff for Singapore, and then my kid came home covered in mud, and I was like, okay, clean her off, and she was like covering her face, like trying to resist, and I was just like, how wide can your arms go? Think of the nut brown hair in the book. How, and then she's like, and then it's just like really finding the right images to just like imaginatively engage and calmly just be patient with the like resisting and not fight, just meet, and then she opened up and it was easy, and I was just like, wow, I'm often like more stressed, less relaxed, more like come on, like we need to do this, like there's so much to do, and that I had just been working on what I should be working on and feeling like I was genuinely making progress on it. I was just like really able to come in completely like without stress, and yeah, we're better people when we're doing the right things that are fulfilling for us. We're more able to be good to the people around us when we are good to ourselves and when we're doing the right work that's fulfilling for us. So I felt really like, wow, like doing that work had left me in such a good state to be a good person to my family, and like it was really like a sign that like I am on the right path. Probably some of you need to quit your job, like, right? And it's hard to do, and it's scary because like you might be in a difficult financial situation, and that's hard and does create its own stress. But it's if you hear me talking about like living in alignment with my whatever and how much better it is to be doing the thing that you know is the right thing to be doing, and that you're feeling that resistance in you, but I can't, and it's like, quit your job, man, like, right? You just know, like, if you're not being good to the people around you, if you're in a state of stress where that's coming out, like often you'll be like closing your eyes to that. You'll be like, no, like it's other people's fault, but like you know that you're doing it, and you know where it's coming from, and you know what you need to change in your life to sort that out. And like all of those things are hard, and like, but like, you know, if you want to chat about it, then like, right, like, you just gotta do it. Sidetracked, but a good sidetrack. Like, if you needed to hear that, then like, but yeah, I need to get like computer setup and stuff figured out for being able to age gracefully and still like do work. If I still even want to do computer work by then, maybe it just like leaves me behind and I do something else. I'm like, that would have been scary to me 10 years ago, but now I'm enough like embodied, and like, well, I can just do like work in my body, and that's cool too. But yeah, like the fact that I can do work and then like it stops being done because they change the platforms is annoying, and that's the like the phones and the operating system, whatever, but also the social media. Like I don't have a way to reach enough people to sell a game enough to make a living, and I'd spent years building that up, and so like hopefully there's another way, and like I'm glad that there's like this little group of people who still like listening to me and paying attention to what I'm doing, and like that will help. I'm not I'm not worried because stuff's happening, and it's going to be good. I'll talk to you about it when it's sorted. But I'm really looking at the future and figuring out how am I going to stay fit and healthy? How am I going to be able to work and like not having to keep adapting to new platforms, and that they're taking an increasingly large proportion of my time. That's the thing. Like since I've been having small children and having a lot less hours of like working, the maintenance and the rubbish like takes up a high proportion of that, because like the good creative flowing work is also the most flexible, and so that goes away, and the rough stuff is all that stays, and then it gets less fulfilling. So I'm turning that around, and it's getting on to the good stuff, and it's yeah. But okay, that's plenty for now.